Hey everybody, and welcome to AI TV. Today we're going to be looking at StarCraft 2. Now StarCraft 2, if you're not aware, is a science fiction game that looks at humans, but some other races as well. There is an advanced alien race with some high-tech technology, and there's also a more beast style, what you'd expect in Alien vs Predator, for example. Just if you're not aware, we actually use a scoring system using animals to compare the AI against to find a likeness, so better describe them before turning it into numerical values. At number 1 we have the panda. That's the worst score you can get. Number 2 we have a pigeon. Number 3 we have cats and dogs. Number 4 is a dolphin, and number 5 is lastly human intelligence. And we look at certain domains of what we find in human intelligence to evaluate. So we've got navigation, cooperation, strategy, individuality, and player awareness as well. In the first game I'm going to be looking at, we're not going to do a player awareness as such, because technically when you're playing AI versus AI, which we're going to be doing here today, I would normally be in the position of where an AI is, so I'm okay to evaluate AI awareness of AI, as it would just be the same thing. If you want to be part of the review community and help us to generate better meta scores rather than just my own personal opinion, I'm going to be putting a link up here, so just click the I, follow the link, check out the video. It's going to take you through more in depth why we're doing this and a bit more of the AI that we find in computer games. So without further ado, we're going to get started, guys. If you're excited and you want to keep up with the reviews, be sure to subscribe and like. If you have your own opinions, either join the Discord channel, the link's in the description, or just leave a comment below. It's no problem. Let's get on with it. So I've set up here a 2v2. It's going to be the human styles playing against each other, playing with each other, and they're going to be up against the more beastie style alien race, which are called the Zerg. So we've already got some battling going on. I should mention as well, quite important in games like this, is your actions per minute. That is, how many things you're doing every minute. If you only do one thing a minute, you're gonna be very far behind, progressively speaking. So you want a really high action per minute rate. As you can see here, the current actions per minute from each AI is quite high. I mean, that's about just over 5 actions per second, which is a lot. I think that's beyond human, which we haven't really encountered yet in any of our reviews. But if something is beyond human, I'm automatically going to deduct score from it. So there's no 6s. We saw here the alien race Zergs. They were trying to expand into a different base, which is a good strategy because you increase your income and it makes you a much more trying to expand again. It makes you a much more wealthy opponent and improves your chances of victory. Now you can see the Terran, which is the humans. They are also doing the same. They're trying to build up their bases. But currently, as it stands, the humans are doing quite well. These are the resources. You have minerals, which are these things here, and you have gas. So I just want to go over the navigation system, because I actually looked through some of the coding, and there's actually some scientific journals about this game and its AI. So what the computer does is, you can see here, for example, this lighter area is where a computer has been but is no longer there. This darker area means a computer has not been there, it has not discovered it. And when a computer goes to one of these areas, it actually takes a screenshot, and by looking at the texture files, it labels things. And with that label, it adds it to a database, which is just a big long list of things. So here, for example, gas. That would be spotted and added to a database. And that's how the AI builds their knowledge of the terrain around them. So as you can see here, he knows there is a mineral field, he knows there is a gas, and now he knows that his enemies, the Terran, are not there yet. So it's open, it's free. They can then build their decision making. If I want to expand, I can go here. They are currently going here at the moment for their expansions. Now that the Terrans, their attack was unsuccessful, they've retreated, which is a good strategy. There's no point fighting to the death. I mean, just look up zero-sum games with game theory to know a bit more about that. And we're going to see the Zerg now. They're looking to navigate around the map, try and collect as much data as possible on their enemies. So they're seeing here now, if I just... we'll just follow them. So now I'm just looking through the Zerg's eyes and what they can see. So they've managed to label all this. So there's gas. That's an enemy base. There was their units. And that's been added to his database of knowledge. I'm going to take off the colours as well, because we want to also see the cooperation. You know, are they combining forces? Are they helping each other when they're in trouble? Because that's the kind of things that really, you know, you look forwards anywhere from dogs and cats upwards. You want to see these people teaming up, becoming a pack, essentially, and defending each other. You also want to see some individuality. And right now, we're not seeing much because these guys on the Terran side, even though they're the same race, you'd expect them to make some different decisions. They've actually, around the same time, expanded outwards. Similar with the Zerg. But we actually see, if we look at their armies, we have these things called roaches, Zerglings, and hydralisks. If we look at the light blue, they have hydralisks as well. They have roaches and Zerglings, but they also have infestors. And this thing, a baneling. So they have some difference there in the units that they're deciding to build. And they're also changing. I mean, here you have, that means there's 19 workers, 20 workers here. And over here you have 22. So they've made a decision, that's how many we need. And it's a different decision based on each other. Okay, now they're at 22 each. But we have the Zerg expanding up here on the blue team at the moment, whereas the light blue is not going for a third base, not yet. It's obviously not within their budget, or they're more focused on building military. We see here now, sometimes you witness coincidence and you attribute something to them. I mean, these guys are combining their forces. That could just be that the game developers have set this waypoint around here on the landscape for one army and this waypoint here for another, and so by coincidence they are combining. They're not deciding to do it as such. Same here. You know, they're combining their armies, but it could be coincidental. We're just going to go back to the APM here. We want to see, so we can see the Zerg currently a lot higher, although average the purple Terrans are making a lot more decisions. And the yellow Terrans, these guys here, they're quite passive at the moment. If you do play StarCraft 2, I mean, I'm sure you understand the value of your APM, especially if you're going to be going into competitive playing. Take a look at the income at the moment. Terrans far outranking the Zergs. And total resources. The Zergs have quite a low total, but that means they've spent the resources on something, which is a lot better than spending it on nothing. So we're seeing a bigger expansion here now. The wars are quite few and far between currently, and so you want to expand in those times where it's peaceful. But I'm sure we're going to start seeing some movement from these, and there's going to be a couple of battles. And we can see here, purple are sending out a scout, trying to gather more information, finding more textures to label to better decide what they're going to be doing. And you can see the computers here, when they've spotted these, they're sending out units to chase them away. They're not letting them gather that information, so that's pretty good strategy we're witnessing. I mean, the awareness isn't godlike. They don't know what these guys have, and vice versa, so they can't build, they can't tell exactly where to go. So for now, they're just building what they think is going to be most effective against a large group. And they're going to fight. They're going to be able to start seeing what units the other team have, and they're going to start building the counterparts of those units. So for example, if the human race were building lots and lots and lots of little guys, the alien race would want to be building something that does a large area of damage so they can hit those and reduce those numbers more quickly. So it's actually been quite peaceful right now. They're expanding, they're expanding. I mean, if we look at this line down the radar at the bottom left, that's sort of the mirror image. It's diagonally across. So you're looking at the Terran right now are the dominant sides, because they just have that much more land, that much more income and resource. And as you can see with the numbers, it's evident just how much they have. This is their technology. As you can see, the Terrans have a much larger list, which means their units are naturally stronger. But the Zergs have a much larger number of units. Alright, we're going to see some battle here. And we're going to see, when they get into fights, the actions per minute just rocket, skyrocket, and I think that goes beyond, it follows the human intelligence, but the actual numbers themselves are beyond that of a human. Although I am going to test that actually. I'm going to see, because a simple right click moving a unit counts as an action. So if they're right clicking constantly like that, that's a really easy way to boost your actions. So we're actually going to, let's see. I'm going to follow this guy. See if we can find him moving a unit and just, are they spamming that right click? Are they just repeatedly pressing it over and over again? No luck so far. I kind of know the answer already. They are moving things by just clicking extremely quickly. I would just like to find some video evidence of it so you guys can actually see it. Wow. There we go, we can see. Alright, never mind. We're about to see an attack here. I'm going to forget that experiment for now. We're just going to witness. This is obviously going to be either the cooperation. I mean, light blue has reacted. Their base is under attack. But blue have not actually reacted to the dire situation their teammates are in. And similarly, purple did not attack with yellow. They are attacking independently. Wow. So I've actually seen, because of their dominant income and resources, their dominant technology, the Terrans are wiping out Zerg quite easily. And they don't have to completely wipe out the Zerg right now. What they're doing is crippling them and their economics to just create a larger gap between the two teams, which is a good strategy. because the further they push, the more units they come across, the more damage they're taking, and that weakens the whole strength of their team. So you don't want to push too far and overextend your army, and then you're left with nothing, and it opens you to a counterattack from the people you are just attacking. Just gonna stop that voice, go back to everyone. Okay, so we can see they're not letting up. I don't know if that's just confidence in the AI. They know. I mean, how could they know? They haven't explored this area. There could have been any number of units waiting for them. So I'm going to say that's an overextension. It's not really strategy as such. More just going for total annihilation with disregard to your troops. You can see the blue team, they're trying to get some economics back, but purple's too strong right now for them. Yellow as well is just wiping out the other guy, but I'm not seeing a cooperation between the two. And in fact, there is no notion of sharing between the two people on the same team. We can see here this is light blue. He's on this side of the map. He filled up his mines, essentially. And what he's done is he's just gone in and taken what should have been blues, really. Total disregard of fairness. Purple force still going strong, still wiping out whatever they want. Yellows as well. But I mean, if you watch the movement of the armies here, it's really good navigation at simulating a human-like awareness and navigation. They don't know exactly where. They can have a brief idea by sending out a scout, but they don't have data on these parts, for example, and here as well, and also here. So what you've seen is they're being quite cautious about moving into these areas until they can gather that data. So I'm definitely thinking we're looking at least a dolphin. The AI is calling GG over here. He thinks there's no way they can win now. But yeah, we're definitely looking at dolphin here for navigation and awareness as well, at least. I'm going to do another simulation after this, although it won't be on this video, just to determine if it's a dolphin or human. I'm going to compare against myself, who is very much classified as a noob to this game, and I'm going to watch some streams of the professional competitive players and how they work with their navigation, so we get a nice cross-section of human styles, and I'm going to compare that against the AI styles just to get if it's a 4 or if it's a 5, a dolphin or a human. And there's blue calling the GG, good game as well. Cooperation, almost non-existent. I think unfortunately that's going to be getting a panda score. Player aware. I've done player awareness for navigation. The strategy. I thought it was lacking a little bit. It's definitely not dolphin. Probably cats and dogs. And the individuality, it's there, it's good, but it's not a human-like individuality. And that's it, it's finished. So we'll just take a last look at the actions per minute of the computers. and if the stats show it, we're going to look at the resources and the income. So we've got the resources there. You can see the light blue just let his team down there. Blue is doing okay. Actions per minute. Terrans with a much higher average between the two, which probably helped a lot in the victory for them as well. Zergs didn't even get to destroy a building. They built less than half of what the Terrans had, so they were destined to lose on this occasion. And we're going to look here just to look at individuality a bit more. So here we can see the build order, in what times and in what order they built certain units and structures. So we're looking at the two Zergs right now. On the left we have, I think it was red and then, no, blue and light blue. Yes, AI1 on the left is the blue, and on the right we have the light blue. And we can see they went straight for a drone and an overlord. Then they went drone, drone, drone spawning pool, drone, drone, hatchery, drone. So I mean, there is a difference actually in how they're approaching the game theory of this. And obviously one was much more effective than the other, which is obviously the one on the left. He was much more effective. And we'll look at 3 and 4 finally, just to see any difference between them. It's the same, it's the same, same. Then he went for a refinery. He carried on building minerals, straight for barracks. Well, I mean, if you look closely, it is the same build order, just some things are in a slightly different order to the other. You know, they're ultimately building the same things, but if you take sections and just switch them around, that's essentially what's being done here. Yeah. See, where's concussive shells? Okay, well AI3 did not go for concussive shells, whereas AI4 did. So there are some differences there, but essentially it's a glorified list that just gets slightly reordered. Yeah, I think that's going to be it for today's episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed it and it's given you some insights onto the AI. If you'd like to see some more of my reviews, just check out my channel. If you want to stay up to date, be sure to subscribe and check back every Monday. I upload the videos at about 9:30 PM. I'm also going to leave my Twitter, my Twitch, which I do live shows at 10 PM on Mondays, and my Discord channel if you want to become part of the review community and start giving your opinions so we can develop a much better score. So reviewers, I'll see you next time.